Chinese state media say top officials from the US and China have discussed holding a new round of interactions between their leaders in the near future. Both sides also reportedly agreed to hold video calls between their two militaries at an appropriate time. And this comes after US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang met for a second day of talks aimed at stabilising ties. The visit is also happening against a backdrop of rising tensions between China and America's allies in the region. A Chinese Coast Guard and Philippine Navy vessels recently clashed in the South China Sea, while on Monday, Japan accused a Chinese military aircraft of violating its airspace. Well, let's go to Olivia Siong. She's joining us live from Beijing. Ollie, first, what are the signals from today's meeting? Positive?
Well, Jill, there are no fundamental shifts in terms of the positions of both sides when we are looking at this Chinese state media report, but there are some results that both sides will likely bring back to their domestic audience, one of them being those talks and discussions about future interactions between the two top leaders of the two countries in the near future. But we have to note here, the Chinese word that was used in the report was interactions. We don't know what form of interactions these are going to be, whether it's a phone call or a meeting. Also, no specifics on when this is going to take place. We have to take note that the U.S. presidential election is going to happen in November. So when exactly these interactions will take place remains to be seen. But also other results, we saw there was agreement that high-level communication will continue, and as well as cooperation in areas like drug control and climate change. The leadership of the two militaries also likely to hold a phone call in the near future and for a second round of intergovernmental dialogue on artificial intelligence. So compared to other readouts that we've seen in the past from China-US meetings, this may look like progress, but, analysts have also been saying that there is recognition that this intense rivalry between the two sides is set to continue, but a signal that the two sides are trying to manage their relationship. So those things that they have agreed on are being seen by observers as low-hanging fruit where they can agree on. But the fundamental issues that have remained, whether it's Taiwan or over those sanctions and accusations of overcapacity, China making very clear its position and its unhappiness over it.
Well, as you said, the fundamentals haven't changed much. And if that's the case, what does it mean for fresh tensions that could possibly be emerging in the South China Sea? How would that be handled?
Well, there was a stark warning from China's top diplomat, according to Chinese state media, in which he told the U.S. to not use bilateral treaties as an excuse to harm China's sovereignty or to support and condone the Philippines' infringement activities. Now, that referring to the Mutual Defense Treaty between Philippines and the U.S., which the U.S. has said extends to armed attacks on Philippines forces, including in the South China Sea, where we have seen increased tensions and clashes between Chinese and Philippines vessels, both sides blaming each other for this heightened tension. Now, the U.S. has said that it was aggressive Chinese actions that it has condemned, saying that it will stand by its ally. And so we see China hitting back at this. Also, we saw both sides discuss the issue of Ukraine following more Chinese firms being added to a U.S. exports control list. The U.S. saying that this was an effort to further restrict the supply of U.S. technology to Russia, given the close ties between Moscow and Beijing. Mr. Wang, however, warning the U.S. not to shift the responsibility onto China or to impose unilateral sanctions. And so we see that there continue to be difficult issues between the two sides, but observers are saying that positive, that communication continues. Jill.
Olivia, thank you so much for the update, reporting live from Beijing. Olivia Siong.